Christianity is Jewish, Jesus completes the story of the Jews. For long ago in the Old Testament, God first gave the Hebrews good news. Long ago, God gave great things to their ancestors, yet faithful Hebrews were always waiting for something better. As they had for centuries, Jewish synagogues shared the good news of their good God, the good things He gave, and the good promises He made. God gave the Hebrews His word through their forefathers. By angels and prophets, God spoke the scriptures. But these messengers promised that God Himself would come farther. For long ago, God gave a book, but in the last days, He promised the author. God gave Abraham, the Hebrews' ancestor, a promise. All humanity would flourish because of his descendants, though his fruitfulness would only produce one son. Nevertheless, all nations would be blessed. For long ago, God gave a seed, but in the last days, He promised a harvest. God gave the Hebrews a land of rest. Through Moses, God led them to a nation. Yet, from these borders, God's nation would expand. His kingdom would be unfurled. For long ago, God gave a country, but in the last days, He promised the world. God gave the Hebrews a way to be with Him through Aaron, the priests, and their sacrificial system. Sinful people could be made temporarily pure, yet the prophets promised a permanent atonement. God would take impure people and do with them something more. For long ago, God gave them a treatment, but in the last days, He promised the cure. As synagogues proclaimed this good news, word started to spread about another Jew, a Hebrew named Jesus, who claimed all the promises of their ancestors had come true in Him, for He took what was good and was making it better. As a minority of Jews heard that the point of all their waiting had been discovered, they trusted that Jesus had ushered in the better end for which all their good promises were uttered. But the majority were unconvinced. They did not believe this Hebrew named Jesus had anything to do with the promises made to their ancestors. They believed in the good, but did not believe in the better. Jews who joined Jesus formed small house churches, giving up family, friends, and community because they believed Jesus was worth it. But their endurance in their choice to follow Jesus was constantly tested and questioned. For their fellow Jews saw their choice as heresy and irreverence, meaning their communities and way of life were met with zealous malevolence. Would these newly believing Jews hold fast to Jesus' good news, or would they return to the safe faith of their ancestors? Would they go back to something good and give up what is better? Marginalized and persecuted, outside as if leprous, Jewish believers wondered if they could keep up their faith with endurance. And it was to these unconfident Jewish expatriates that the written sermon of Hebrews came to bring evidence of the worthiness of their newfound faith in this Hebrew named Jesus. Promise by promise, letter by letter, the preacher of Hebrews showed how all the Jewish ancestors were actually looking to Jesus to make everything better. For God gave His book of the law, which promised the Hebrews the author would one day come. God gave a seed to Abraham, which promised him a harvest of a final blessed son. God gave the inheritance of a land, which promised Moses an eternal rest for the whole world that could not be undone. God gave a treatment for our brokenness through the many sacrifices of the priests, which promised Aaron a final cure, which would be provided by one. Jesus is what the Hebrews had been promised. He is the author and the harvest. Jesus is who the Jews had waited for. He would save the world. He would be the cure. Jesus was the one anticipated by their ancestors. Jesus was taking what is good and making it better. And now Christians have the better word, the better family, the better inheritance, the better remedy. We have a better son, a better land, a better sacrifice, a better command, because long ago, Abraham, Moses, and Aaron did not receive what God in His word promised to give. So they endured, waited, and suffered, so that in these last days we could receive what they never did, which is why they need us to receive what they were promised. We get to finish what they suffered so much to start. They endured everything because of the good God gave them. How much more can we endure because of the better Jesus brings us? Hebrews calls all Christians to stand with our Jewish ancestors and endure in their faith in what is better. For we do not endure alone. We are surrounded by witnesses like Abraham, who tell us God's son will bless all nations. Witnesses like Moses, who show us God's land still waits for us with patience. Witnesses like Aaron, who share God's forgiveness through one sacrifice for all generations. Witnesses fill the law, the prophets, and all of God's revelation, encouraging us to endure no matter the suffering or marginalization. Christianity is Jewish. Jesus completes the story of the Jews. For in these last days, through the Hebrews, Jesus has given us good news. And now, Hebrews says to us, keep the faith with endurance. Complete the hope of our spiritual ancestors. Believe that through God's good promises, Jesus is making all things better. Hey everybody, David Bowden here. Thank you so much for watching our video introducing the book of Hebrews. We here are Spoken Gospel. We're a nonprofit organization and we are dedicated to speaking the gospel of Jesus out of every single corner of the scriptures through free resources like this video you just watched. And if you enjoyed it and you want to see more of it, we invite you to go to spokengospel.com to become a donor of our ministry, because we can only do what we do because people like you all over the world are giving a little bit every month to help us make content like this. So if you enjoyed what you saw, again, we invite you to go to spokengospel.com and join us in our mission today.